Some interesting music news.
Oh?
Yes.
Dare say.
Are you familiar with this older lady? She goes by the name Madonna.
Who?
Madonna. She's named
Who?
She's named after the mother of our Lord, you know. But but she also. Okay, the reason I make that reference is because I can't. Whenever I think of Madonna, of course, I'm talking about Madonna, the musical artist. Whenever I think of Madonna, I immediately think back to when we were kids, and Church Chat was a recurring sketch on Saturday Night Live. The church lady played by Dana Carvey, and the guest one week was Sean Penn. And Sean Penn at that time was married to Madonna. So the church lady says something about, you're married to a woman who is named after our Lord or something like that. So that's what I think of whenever I think of Madonna. Madonna, of course, the musician who was popular in the 1980s and has had a lot of plastic surgery.
When I think of her, I think of pointy breasts.
Oh, the cones.
Yes, the cones with a crown.
Yes. Well, apparently she is being sued. This is from, I like the BBC because I don't know. I feel like they do a better job than a lot of American media, just in general. But you can find this anywhere, of course, if you just Google Madonna. But the BBC reporting Madonna sued by fans in New York over late concert start time. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
I have not.
These Madonna fans revolting. They're very upset that she started late.
Well. There's late, and then there's holy crap. There's no more public transport late.
I mean, well, that's true, and that is a problem in New York City. Now, I have to assume that none of these people have ever been to a Guns N' Roses concert because you don't know when Axl Rose is going to finally emerge. Although I think he's gotten better in his old. He's actually gotten better about that.
Has he really
in his old
gone
age.
2 hours though? Like, has he gone 2 hours?
Axl Rose? Oh, there are stories.
Really?
Yeah, but from back in the day, as I think the young people say. No, I think he's gotten a lot better about that now. I don't think he does that now. But when he was younger, yeah, he'd make them wait. But so this is what now. By the way, this is not a large scale sort of class action lawsuit. It says here 2 Madonna fans are suing the singer for being late by more than 2 hours for a show last month in New York, according to court documents. They state the show was meant to start at 2:30 Eastern, which would be, I'm sorry, well, that threw me off. It's written as 20:30 Eastern, which would actually be, of course, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's the BBC. They do things all British. On all 3 nights. But in each case, it did not begin until after 22:30, which would be 10:30, ending around 1 a.m. The case says they, quote, would not have paid for tickets, unquote, had they known it would finish so late. The BBC has asked Madonna, Live Nation, and the Barclays Center for comment. The case, brought by Michael Fellows and Jonathan Haddon, states that, quote, many ticket holders who attended concerts on a weeknight had to get up early to go to work and or take care of their family responsibilities the next day, unquote. They are suing promoter Live Nation and venue the Barclays Center for, quote, false advertising, negligent misrepresentation, and unfair and deceptive trade practices, unquote. Fellows and Haddon attended the show on Wednesday, again, it's the BBC. Everything's written weird. December 13th. I'll just give you the date. Well, the way this is written, it literally says Wednesday.
It's not English.
Right. Yeah. Well, it may be the Queen's English, but, listen.
English now.
Can I just say this?
No.
Here in America, we speak American. And that's it.
Stop it.
We speak American. So this is difficult for me to read this way. This is what, let me also just add this, okay? This is a perfect example of why we fought the Revolutionary War.
Really?
We don't get political on this show anymore, but I just want to throw that in. This is why, because of the way this is written.
I'm going to go throw tea.
Because this is written, they attended the show on Wednesday, 13 December 2023. That's how it's written.
Well,
That's how
you're supposed to write the date.
Apparently in the BBC. By the way, isn't Wednesday 13 a band?
They do drive on the wrong side of the road.
So that's confusing to me.
So
Yes,
that's why
they do.
They have the wrong date.
Yes.
Yes, it's backwards.
The legal documents note that other nights at the same venue on 14 and 16 December, that's how it's written, also reportedly started more than 2 hours late. The document says, quote, defendants failed to provide any notice to the ticket holders that the concerts would start much later than the start time printed on that ticket and as advertised, which resulted in the ticket holders waiting for hours, unquote. The court papers also say Madonna, quote, has a long history of arriving and starting her concerts late, sometimes several hours late, unquote. I didn't know that. So she's just like Axl Rose. Citing examples including, quote, her 2016 Rebel Heart tour, her 2019-2020 Madam X tour, and prior tours, where Madonna continuously started her concerts over 2 hours late, unquote. No. This is a problem. This is she's a habitual offender.
Looking to our British brothers and sisters, they're reporting
I have no
Guardian.
I disown them. I'm very upset about this whole thing with the dates.
Oh, God, stop. The Guardian is reporting that this is not the first time she's actually been sued over being late to her concert. In 2009 and 2020, she was sued by concertgoers who felt scorned by her lack of punctuality.
Well,
score.
Yeah.
Gotta love the British writing.
Well, I mean, it is rude. It's rude.
Well, and in all fairness, it is. I mean, if you're expecting to get out of a concert at like 10, 11 o'clock at night when the trains are still running and the buses are still running or whatever, and you're going to get home, whatever, but if you're getting out at 1 o'clock in the morning and these same services are no longer available in the overnight hours, which is what some of these people are talking about. Mm-hmm. There are people who got like kind of trapped to figure out on how the heck to get home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, in a city like New York, that's obviously
you got a really good reason.
That's a huge issue.
I mean, it's not like there's something bad. Like if she got in an accident or plane got late, something that's beyond our control, understandable.
Yeah.
But if it's just because you feel like it, or you're that diva, no.
Not just New York.
I'm on their side.
Yeah, any metropolitan area where you're dependent on public transportation, that's going to cause a real problem for you. If it hasn't happened to me, but I've known people, who go to shows in Boston that for some reason run ridiculously late, and then they have trouble getting on the subway.
But then also if you're a parent, this is your night out. You've got a babysitter at home who's got school the next day, expecting to be home at 11 o'clock at night.
And
they're not getting out of the venue until 1 a.m.
Yeah, I'm a little less sympathetic to that argument, only because only because the transportation issue is one thing, but you kind of. I mean, it is kind of baked into the cake that if you're going to a concert, you're gonna be late. You just don't expect to be, but you don't want to be so late that you can't get home.
No, I don't know. I don't. Why are you against the parents here?
I'm not against it. I just said I'm less sympathetic to that argument.
You have any? You don't have any idea how hard it is as a parent.
I don't.
To get time off, to get tickets, to get a babysitter. If you got pets, whatever it is. Get all of these things lined up so you can have those couple of hours out. Well, most people, when they hire babysitters, there are other kiddos who got to go to school the next day. And you can't be sending them home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, this is the reason.
Remember, you got to give them time to get home.
This is the entire reason why I never wanted to start a family, why I have no children of my own. And I decided at a young age, I have no interest in being a father, specifically because if I knew this is something I understood about myself from a young age. If I ever wanted to attend a Madonna or a Guns N' Roses concert, the children were just going to drag me down because then I'd have to be worried about, the babysitter getting home for them. So I said, you know what? I just can't have kids. What was that?
Oh, my.
Did you? What was that sound? Did you hear that?
It sounded like a train horn. We are near a track.
It actually did. Yeah, maybe it was.
We are on street level now.
That's true. Well, that's exciting.
We have a crazy cool new building.
We can
see stuff. And you know what? We can see stuff, but the people outside can't see it. So you can make like silly faces and they won't see you.
It says here the plaintiffs are suing for unspecified damages. This is not the first time fans have objected to the singer being late for her shows. And in 2019, a fan sued over a delay for a U.S. show, but he voluntarily dismissed the case a month later, according to ABC News. In the same year, Madonna had shared a post of her live on stage in which she told fans, quote, "There's something you all need to understand, and that is that a queen is never late," unquote.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my. So
That's such a
so when she graces
crappy
us with her
excuse.
presence
That's such an
on her own time because she's the queen.
stinks. That's
Yes.
not a good excuse.
Madonna's sold
I'm
out.
going to night myself. I can be late everywhere now.
Her sold out celebration tour was a greatest hits show, including more than 40 songs from her career to celebrate the 40th anniversary of her breakout single Holiday, playing venues including the US, Canada, and Europe. The singer had a health scare. Oh, I'd forgotten about this. She had a health scare last summer after she was found unconscious in her New York apartment in June and rushed to the hospital where she received treatment for a serious bacterial infection. She later said she was lucky to be alive and postponed the start of the tour from July to October last year.
See, now that's different. That's way beyond her control.
Sure.
You know, don't die. We want you to play, not die. That is beyond her control. But to simply be late, offer no explanation, anything like that. Yeah, you just screwed up a whole bunch of people. I mean, how many thousands of people were there?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a weeknight. See, it's a weeknight really kicks me because it really messes up everybody.
Uh-huh. But this is a good example, too, of why, and this is advice that no one will probably take, but you should, if you're going to buy tickets to a show, and there's another reason why I say this, you should always, before you buy those tickets, no matter how excited you are, just do some quick, light research so you know exactly what you're getting into. There's an element of buyer beware to this, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So somebody I didn't know this about Madonna. I just knew it about Guns N' Roses because of Axl Rose. But I've also never been interested in seeing Madonna live. So, but you want to know,
Poke your eye out.
you kind of want to know what you're getting into because, if it's an artist who is notorious for being late, if it's going to be a problem for you, potentially, like if you have kids and, you've got a babysitter and you've got to be home at a certain time, you're going to want to know that before you buy those tickets, especially I assume she's charging outrageous sums of money because all major artists do. But the other reason there's an unrelated reason that I always say this to people too, that has nothing to do with punctuality. There are a lot of, if you're seeing, you especially see this with classic rock bands, 70s, rock bands, 80s rock bands, and I suppose at this point, some 90s bands as well. If you're going to see a band and you're someone who is concerned about knowing who's actually in the band, for example, or are they how are they doing on stage? Are the shows good, or are they stumbling out there addled with drugs and alcohol or whatever?
Guns N' Roses.
It's worth but it's.
that was their issue back then. If you go to their
back then,
concert,
sure, yeah.
So if you were going to that concert, you knew what to expect.
Back then, yeah. Now they're all pretty clean, I think, but.
I think they fried their livers too much to not be.
Yeah, you get to a point where you can't
My liver.
do that anymore or you'll die. But the reason I say this is there's a lot of bands now, and some people get upset and they don't realize what they're getting into. So I'll just give you an example. If you say Foreigner, this is a perfect example. Say Foreigner is touring. If you're someone who's particularly concerned about who's actually going to be on stage, there's so many examples of this, but Foreigner is a great example. If you're someone who's concerned about who's actually going to be on stage when you go to see them, is it going to be any semblance of the original lineup, the one you grew up with, the one that you love? Is Lou Gramm going to be singing? Spoiler alert, he is not. Kelly Hansen, I think, has been singing for Foreigner probably for at least 2 decades now, longer than Lou Gramm was ever even in the band. You know, you're going to want to do some, it'll take you 2 minutes. Just do some quick, light research before you buy those tickets. If you're someone who is concerned about that. Now, the average consumer, I don't think cares, but let me just tell you, if you go to see Foreigner, there's nobody in that band on that stage who is an original member at this point. Even what's his name? Is it Mick Jones? I always get the name wrong.
I did not know this.
The guitar player. What's the guitar player's name? Something Jones.
You know I stink with this.
I feel like it's Mick Jones, but I'm not sure. Anyway,
I could never play 9 at 9.
The guitar player in Foreigner actually now manages the band, and he doesn't even want to be on stage.
The original guitar player.
Yeah. He's still part of the band, but not on stage. He runs the band. He acts as tour manager, but he lets them go out on stage and perform. He doesn't want to perform anymore.
His body up enough.
But he's still, so he's still making that money. Interesting thing, a number of years ago, Foreigner went on a tour with Cheap Trick, but Cheap Trick's management insisted that the guitar player had to actually participate in a certain percentage of the shows.
Oh, they wanted at least one original
guy. Yeah.
Smart move on their part.
Things like that happen when in, 2004 or 2005, when Kiss and Aerosmith did their co-headlining tour. Aerosmith actually closed out every show. Kiss was on first and then Aerosmith. So they weren't really co-headlining because, whoever goes on last is truly the headliner. So really Aerosmith was the headliner and Kiss was the opener. They called it a co-headlining tour because they're both.
Gene wouldn't like that.
But the thing is,
how dare you say such thing?
Well, the thing is though, Aerosmith management, when they put that deal together, they had leverage because Aerosmith had all 5 original members, whereas Kiss had a different guitar player because Ace Frehley had left the band again. So they had Tommy Thayer on guitar. So when they were putting the deal for the tour together, which Doc McGee, the manager of Kiss, who's still the manager of Kiss today, he really wanted that tour. So he agreed, okay, so Kiss will open all the shows. We're going to call it co-headliner. They're going to play the same amount of time, but Kiss is going to open every night because Aerosmith had all 5 original members and Kiss only had 3 of the 4 original members. So Aerosmith had that leverage. But I'm just saying, if you're someone who, because, every once in a while I'll see people online, I went to see such and such band and I didn't even recognize anybody on the stage. Check it out first. Do some light research.
No
there have been instances where this is something I'd have to do a little deeper research to really get into the subject in depth, but we'll do it on a future show because it is a fascinating subject, I think. There was a point where, remember the band LA Guns?
Yes.
The Ballad of Jane was like their big, massive hit, but they had a few other hits. Oh, that's right. Edgewise opened for LA Guns. Right here, right over there. right. Because we're on Canal Street now. So right across the street at Jewel. That's right. I forgot about that. There was a point where there were 2 versions of LA Guns touring at the same time. One with Tracy Guns and one other version with, I think, the singer. And it was, and of course.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you know now? You have to be a deep fan to know which concert to go to, or whose side are you on? I'm going to this guy's or that guy's.
That's why I tell everybody if it matters to you, and like I said too, to the average,
I have no clue.
To the average concert goer who just likes going to a concert, they probably don't even care, and that's what the industry depends on. That's what these bands who do this, that's what they depend on. You don't care who's in the band, so it doesn't matter, and everybody's replaceable. But if you do care, do the research. And to kind of circle back to the Madonna thing, again, it's going to be the real Madonna, unless it's an AI version of Madonna or something. But do the research. If you're concerned about what time you're going to be getting out of that venue, do the research.
I don't think it's going to be too far that we're not looking at look at it. Is that AI? Is that not AI? I mean, isn't Kiss supposed to be setting up something like that in Vegas?
The avatars, yeah.
And that's all. It's basically it's AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the 22nd century.
21st.
No, not yet. Okay.
No.
I have to say though, I love living in my Jetsons world. I really do. Remember when you're a kid, you watch that stuff. Now we have it.
Well,
now we can,
sort of. We're not.
Come on, the
we're not
screen
flying
comes up
around
and we're chit chat. All right, I
Yeah.
don't have my car in a suitcase yet. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But I do have the screen come up and somebody there, and we can. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know why. I mean, I don't know how this lawsuit's going to end up, but I assume, just refund their money, right?
Something.
You would think they would just do that.
Hopefully nothing really, really bad happened because of this. I
Right.
mean, there's a huge difference between getting out of a venue around 11 o'clock and getting out at 1 a.m. There really is a big difference between that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for being upset. If there was no good reason given, it doesn't sound like they gave any reason.
Well,
If something happened.
in her defense, I mean, she had that post from a while ago when she said, she's the queen.
Yeah, that's not good enough.
She's never late.
Yeah, no, that's Queen Latifah shows up on time, and she is the queen.
Of course.
So, yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's good enough. No, I think you owe your fans something when they're gonna come spend all that money to come see you and spend money on all your merch.
I wonder if she sings live.
Can you imagine standing? For me, it would never happen. I could have never, if you had seats that were ground level, everybody's standing. Or you're no seat. What if you're on the floor? There's no seat. You're just standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're spending over 2 hours on your feet before you even get to see a show.
Yeah, it better be a good show.
I couldn't do that. I would have to leave.
Do you think she sings live or does she lip sync?
Of course, I wouldn't
At her
sit
age.
in a non-seated area.
Because she probably still dances around, right? She probably can't sing live anymore. Does her face even move? Have you seen
Stop
her?
it.
Have you seen her?
You're awful.
Have you seen how strange she looks?
What is
though?
with the shaming?
I'm just saying because she's had all that. I mean, she looks weird.
A lot of
She
people,
looks very strange.
A lot of people seem to enjoy plastic surgery in a way that
it's psychologically addictive.
Yeah, see, I believe that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
absolutely
No, it definitely
believe
is.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then you're staring at yourself, always looking for flaws.
Right.
I hate that. I hate that it makes people do that.
I
Why hunt out flaws?
I suspect what happens
Flaws
is
are beautiful.
people have they get the plastic surgery and then they're not happy with the result.
So they
and they
tighten it.
probably it
They
becomes
tighten it.
like if you're addicted to addicted to anything, if you're addicted to drugs and you get into that, okay, just one more fix, or if you're addicted to video games, just one more game, and then I'm going to put
Just
down
to,
this
get
controller.
This level.
I think it's the same thing. It's probably the same thing with plastic surgery. You get plastic surgery and then you thought it was going to make you look so much younger and it doesn't. And then you go, all right, I'm just going to get one more surgery, just one more surgery.
Just adjust this and
Yeah.
adjust that.
Yeah. And then
It's
you end
terrible.
up like Kenny Rogers, where remember in the last 10 years that he was still alive, he looked like a different person, like he had a different face because, he just kept getting plastic surgery. And it just
can be pretty addictive to people.
Yeah.
But I'll never shame somebody for doing it. But, me personally, I love imperfection. I think imperfection is the most beautiful thing in art. Everything like when I make scarves and things, there's always something, maybe a stitch got dropped and I pulled it back up or one's a little tighter than the other. That's part of what makes it special and unique is that each one has its own. And that's what I like about art. I don't want it to, if I want something perfect, computerized, well, then I can go to a computer.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want something that's human, that has passion in it or emotion or feeling or whatever it is that I'm looking at, I want those imperfections. It's what makes them beautiful.